Good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Tuli Patel. My pronouns are she, her, hers. If you're joining us online, hello to you all. Won't you please say hi to one another in the chat? I am a large South Asian woman, today wearing a aubergine turtleneck with a black sweater, a necklace, and black pants. It's great to see you all. I am very happy to be back with you, amongst you, after a long 6-month sabbatical, and you're going to hear lots more about it in the sermon. But I want to first acknowledge that Sunday mornings don't just happen. They happen. They happen with John and Jackie. Jackie, say hello. With Helen, our worship associate. Susan, who's going to do our testimonial but is unable to wave. Where's Susan? We lost her for a minute. Hillary and Himanshu, who are our welcome team at the first service. And this service we have Chris Gordon. Chris, come and say hello briefly. There you go, that's Chris. Sean, who was our chaplain. Adam is our chaplain at the 11 o'clock. There's Adam, here we go. Our sound tech Pranav in the back, just wave. And Lux, you need to emerge from the room and come in front of the cameras, just so you know that things happen in this room. So come, no. It wasn't the long shot, was it? The live stream won't get it. And Dana and Jermaine from the staff, as well as our social hour host. So it takes all of us coming together to make Sunday mornings possible, and deep gratitude to them. So before we begin, a few announcements. The first is, I was told what to read, so I better read it. On Sunday, January 25th at 3 p.m., afternoon music brings you Stephanie Blythe, a world-famous opera singer who also has a following through singing ukulele songs on the internet and a drag show on PBS. Her voice has got to be heard to be believed, and she's a great artist who connects with the audience in a miraculous way. This will be a concert that inspires you and restores you. Tickets are available through Eventbrite, and there's information on the poster in the lobby. If you just Google afternoon music, it comes right up. On that same day is a membership brunch for new members at Beacon, but you all are also invited. So you can just make it a Beacon day. Come to services, have lunch, nap a little, maybe not on these chairs, and then go to the afternoon music concert, right? Does it sound like a plan? Yeah, January 25th. So welcome to Beacon. We are a liberal religious community. We come together to uphold our 6 values with love at the center. And do we need this week? Oh, yes. Do we need it with 1 year down? Yes. 3 more to go? Maybe less? So we come together as a religious community to keep our beacon burning bright, shining bright, glowing. We come together to reinforce one another, to hold one another, to rebuild our bonds, to build resilience, and to build the kind of resistance that we need for these times. Yes? We are bound together with justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, with love at the center. And we have our own covenant. Each one of you should have received a handout when you came in. I invite us to read together our covenant. We need this, people. We need this week, and we need it to get through the next period. Love guides this congregation. Love calls us daily to acts of liberation grounded in anti-racism. We affirm that we live in the complexity of intersectionality, and that building healthy and loving relationships is a spiritual practice requiring both inward and outward focus. Thus, we covenant to listen deeply, speak compassionately, express gratitude, and embrace our unique diversity. We endeavor to communicate honestly and with compassion, particularly when we are in conflict. When we hurt one another, we will try to make amends, forgive, and reconnect with an intent to repair, change, and grow. Our purpose is to be radically inclusive, feed the human spirit, and heal the world. In celebration of the common purpose that ties us, and with the aspiration of beloved community before us, we will do our best to abide by this covenant. Thank you all. I invite you to take a deep breath in and join together for this sacred hour.
Good morning. As noted, I'm Helen Kerr, the worship associate. I'm a white woman with short, curly white hair, older. And if you can't see me, I should point out that I'm wearing black in order to emphasize this jacket, which shows the extraordinary handiwork of Hmong women from Minnesota. They're immigrants. I'm looking for a volunteer, someone to light the chalice. Anybody? As we have lit this morning's chalice, let it remind us that its fire, its burning, puts us in the middle, and that we are the embers of a becoming.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome. Good to see you. I invite you to stand and rise as you are able for our first hymn. It's hymn number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath. Give you time to open your books and find the page. Okay, here we go. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to love.
Good morning. My name is Adam Gonerman, and I'm pleased to be serving today as Beacon's chaplain. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a bald, middle-aged white man wearing a blue shirt and this maroon scarf, which is how you know that I'm a chaplain here. So, Richard Rohr once wrote, "The greatest gift you can give another is the purity of your attention." The greatest gift you can give another is the purity of your attention. That's what Beacon chaplains do. We give you our attention. We don't give you our advice. We don't tell you what to do. We don't criticize necessarily or judge what you're saying. No, we don't criticize. We listen. We feel deeply compassion for what you're saying and are there as a presence for you. Beacons chaplains are lay leaders who have received special training to walk alongside people in difficult and meaningful moments. More importantly, right now we're here to celebrate your joys and milestones. Our support isn't limited to Sunday mornings. Please know you can reach out to us anytime for conversation. If you'd like to connect with me or another chaplain, just approach us after the service. I'm also available during the service in the back. You can contact us through the website, and we can set up time to talk via phone or in person, and you can learn more about our program for chaplains on the Beacon website. One way we nurture our collective spirit each week is through the candle lighting ritual. This is a sacred time we approach with reverence and care, and with these candles we make space for both our struggles and our hopes. Need to light some candles. Here we go. We'll light a candle for caregivers and helpers whose quiet labor and compassion sustain others. May they find strength, rest, and recognition for all that they give. We light a candle for those living with uncertainty or change, that they may meet each new chapter with courage, patience, and the support of community. A candle for the many places recovering from or in the midst of war and conflict, including Gaza, Nigeria, Ukraine, Venezuela, and Sudan. And of course, we light a candle in remembrance of Renee Good, a daughter, mother, poet, neighbor, whose life was tragically and violently taken this last week, a death that has touched the hearts and awakened grief across our nation. We invite you to join us in this ritual now, whether here in the sanctuary or in your own space at home, by lighting a candle of your own, a symbol of hope, solidarity, and care for one another.
invite you to follow along with the lyrics to this next song is in your bulletins, called Be Still and Breathe. And I'll sing it the first time, then you can sing it along with me. It's very simple. It goes like this. Be still and breathe. Be still and be. Listen to heartache, listen to grief. Be still and breathe. You can sing that with me now. There we go. Be still and breathe. Be still and be. Listen to heartache. Listen to heartache. Listen to grief. Be still and breathe. Let's take a breath in between each verse. Very good. Okay. Here we go. Be still and breathe. Be still and be. Listen to gladness. Listen to gladness. Listen to joy. Be still and breathe. Be still and breathe. Be still and be. Listen to anger. Listen to hurt. Be still and breathe. Be still and breathe. Be still and be. Listen to beauty. Listen to grace. Be still and breathe. Be still and breathe. Very soft. Be still and be. Listen to you. Listen to me. Be still and breathe.
Thank you. Can you sing that before every time I have to I can chill. So hi, I'm Susan Oldroyd, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a 50-year-old Arab woman with my grandmother's kinky, curly, dark hair and big eyes and bulbous nose. I usually wear my traditional scarf, kufi, and I'm almost wearing a big smile and kind of dancing. I first walked into Beacon in my early 20s, at a time when my life felt wide open and completely untethered. I had just left my life's work, still it still makes me cry, as a liberal Catholic youth minister and my religion. I believed that the Catholic Church might become more liberal, and one day I could become a priest, but that door closed. I was grieving and searching for a spiritual home that could hold my liberal views, my deep questions, and my hunger for justice. I wanted a faith that trusted questions more than answers. I was hoping for a future where I could raise my children in a religion where women had just as many rights as men. I remember how I felt that first Sunday, hopeful, curious, and fragile. Then I saw a very pregnant Reverend Vanessa Rush Southern step to the pulpit, leading worship with honesty and strength. something cracked open in me. And then this incredible opera singer stood and sang, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." I was undone. At that moment, I knew this is the place where my light was welcome. And more than that, when my light dimmed, others would help carry it for me. Beacon became my beacon. What kept me here was how human it felt. Name tags, greeters who remembered me, coffee hour where our conversations, where I could disagree and wonder out loud and still belong. The rituals, the music. Without fear of judgment, I was able to be in small groups and explore my faith freely. I raised my children alongside this community, leaning on mentors like Marty and Mia and Tuli and Jermaine. And you led me to places like Adirondack and Murray Grove that have shaped my family's spiritual lives in profound ways. Life eventually pulled me away. I moved a distance, divorce, a single parent. Leaving Beacon was painful but necessary. I found a small UU congregation close to my home in Hunterdon County, and we became very active there. Still, my heart never left Beacon. You know that feeling? When I returned, I was met with open arms, a hug at the door, familiar smiles, new members and leaders who stoked something in me that was kind of sizzling underneath and I was trying to ignore. My call to ministry. I start at United Theological Seminary in the Twin Cities in Minnesota tomorrow. So, yeah. Beacon welcomed me back, not as someone who has left, but as someone who belonged. The difference. If you're new here or a returning person like me or have been here for a long time, lean in. I encourage you. There is room here for questions, your wounds, and your becoming. Beacon is a community where every light is welcomed and invited to shine. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Our morning's offering will now be most gratefully received.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break
lucky. This reading comes from Bayo Akomolafe. He's a Nigerian philosopher and cultural activist who was born in Africa into the Yoruba tradition, and he now lives in Chennai, India. And these are some of his reflections on death and decay. To preserve anything is to shut it away from the elements, to freeze a hearty conversation, to clog the pores through which things breathe. The alternative, it seems, though less austere, is decay. Yet, is it not possible to see how corruption is a symptom of vitality? When a thing rusts and blisters and cringes and turns yellow, it's because it's alive. Our bodies wrinkle and decay and get moldy, tired, and flaccid because they are alive. And this is not merely an incidence of entropy. It is because nothing is of itself alone or singular. Everything is relationship, an ecology of multidimensional forms of being. Decay is the chorus of 1,000 life forms expressing themselves, the microbial dance of an infinitesimal commonwealth. We often think of death as the ultimate corruption. What if that means that death is the greatest exemplification of life? What if corruption brings us to new places?
As I strike our Tibetan bowl gong and its echoes dissipate into silence, you are invited into a time of quiet and reflection. As we settle in with eyes closed or gazing softly at a spot in front of us, we take measure of where we are in our physical self, noting our spine, holding us upright, noting where our feet are, either on the floor or on the lower rung of the chair. And we bring our attention to our breath, the breath that is with us from the time that we enter the world, passing out of the womb, until we move on to another world. The breath that might get jagged and agitated when we perhaps read the newspaper headlines, or is calm and still when we first awake. Bringing our attention now to the top of our head, the crown of our head, the anterior fontanelle, the soft spot that we were all born with. Focusing there for a few minutes. Some of us might feel tingling, some of us might not. And if the breath is not a place of ease for you this morning, then you are invited to focus on this fontanelle, on this soft spot that fused as we grew, or on your palms, or on the bottom of your feet. And now with every in-breath, we scan the body from crown of the head to the tips of the toes. For those of us who are into chakras, the crown chakra, the Sahasrara chakra, is an important one. And we begin from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. We scan our bodies, and on the out-breath, the journey is reversed from the tips of our toes to the crown of our head. Scanning the body, noting anything that might be present. Perhaps tension, perhaps itchiness, perhaps pain. Knowing that it is impermanent. This is the concept of anicca, impermanence. And facing it with equanimity. For a few moments this morning, stopping, pausing, and staying stopped. Recognizing this moment as the present moment, between the past moment and the one to come. With every in-breath, breathing in peace. With every out-breath, breathing out love. Love from our hearts, first to ourselves, making sure we are tending to ourselves first. Extending love to everyone in this shared space together, even though we might not know them. And finally, to all beings everywhere. Extending love to all sentient beings across the globe. As I strike our Tibetan bowl gong once again, and its echoes dissipate into silence, you are invited to remain with your eyes gently closed while Jackie leads us in song.
In, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. This song has 3 parts to it. You can feel free to keep your eyes closed. We're going to sing each part. And then at the end, we'll sing all together the parts. So the first part is, we're going to just say, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Next part is coming up. Just keep your eyes closed if you want, and just listen. And the next part is, when I breathe in, it's the part you heard me sing already. I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out. And the third part is, when I breathe in, I will breathe in peace. Yes, sound great. When I breathe out, I will breathe out love. invite you to pick your favorite part and you sing that, okay? Keep breathing in and out. Here we go. When I breathe in, good. I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, yes. I will breathe out love. When I breathe in, I will breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I will breathe out. Keep going. Yes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Yes, beautiful. Breathe in. Breathe out. Sing your part. Yes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe. One more time. Sing out. Breathe in. Sing your favorite part. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out love. Beautiful.
It's 7:30 a.m. on a Monday morning, and before I start my work day at Beacon, I'm at Overlook Hospital visiting my closest friend, my BFF, my sister from another mother, who has been admitted with a broken hip. Unable to speak due to a chronic condition that has stolen her breath, we write notes back and forth. I hold her hand and tell her that I love her. She is fully cognizant, and the nursing staff is confident that she's not in any pain. Later that day, as I head home, I text her family to say that I am returning for the night at the hospital and I will be there at 7 p.m. There is no response to this message for a few hours, and then I get a text that she has passed. It was June 30th, 2025, and so my sabbatical, slated to begin on July 1, began on an ominous note. My friend had struggled for the last 15 years with a rare and chronic condition which resulted in the narrowing of the trachea so that every breath was a struggle. The same breath that we used during our meditation was stolen from her. After witnessing her struggle, I stopped recommending breath-based meditations to my friends and instead shifted to sensation-based meditation in an effort to build meditative inclusivity. I consider it a great honor that I was able to be with my friend in the hospital the day she passed, briefly helping to ease some communication between her and the nursing staff. As I held her hand, I texted my husband that I was so sad that she had entered the Bardo. He texted back right away, "She's gone?" "No," I replied, "she's in the Bardo." There ensued an intense back and forth, the kind that happens between couples, as to what the Bardo really is. Bardo literally means between two. Bar is between and do is two. In the first few weeks of my sabbatical, I took a deep dive into it. It turns out that the term Bardo was initially popularized in the West through the easily available and oft-cited book, The Tibetan Book of the Dead, by Walter Evans Wentz, first published in 1927. Evans Wentz, from Trenton, New Jersey, never visited Tibet, nor was able to read and write the local language, but introduced the concept as a sort of crossing over. In fact, there is no one seminal text in Tibet about death or dying, but instead a collection of commentaries, footnotes, and discussions. The time after death is a time which we might describe as a period when the veil is thin, something we tend to think of in the fall here in the Northern Hemisphere. Depending on whom you ask or what book you read, there are between 4 and 6 states of Bardos, according to Tibetan commentaries. The Bardo of life, the Bardo of meditation, the Bardo of transmigration, and so on. The Tibetan term refers as much to the Bardo of one life to the next as it does to life itself. Fascination with death extends across cultures. From ancient Egyptian rituals to modern-day seances, we humans spend a lot of time in the Bardo of life thinking about the Bardo to come. One might say that the American climate at the time of Evans Wentz publishing was fertile ground for receiving it, for understanding death and our reaction to it, particularly the exercises recommended in it, like imagining one's end, and these tend towards the peaceful, a gentle slipping away into the good night. For our purposes here, the Bardo is about liminal spaces, the spaces just after you've crossed a threshold, not just the period after one passes. And today I want to explore how liminal spaces, Bardos, can be transformative if we're willing to stay present to what arises when you are in them. The possibilities are endless, a bit like facing a blank page. Today I share what arose for me and my takeaways and ahas. Most Bardos are unplanned, and many of us have experienced liminal times. In fact, you might say we experience it daily between sleep and awakening, and all of us, even newborns, have experience with the Bardo of dreaming. Some of us who have had vasovagal syncope? Nobody? Oh, good. Not good, but yes, okay, thank you. People who fainted? Fainted? Anybody fainted, right? Or tripped? You know, you see it and then you're down, right? So that period, who have tripped have experienced being in the Bardo. But these liminal spaces are rarely planned. Planned or not, the experience of them might be intense. I was blessed with a planned Bardo, in addition to all the Bardos I experience, as do all of us, and this allows for something else to arise. Being in a Bardo allows us the opportunity to stay present to what is arising within. Most days we push away what arises, particularly the uncomfortable parts, because we have places to go, things to do, people to meet. With 6 months, I had time. This time is in retreat from the world. It's training for resistance. Resistance to the daily and mounting pressures each one of us faces. So here is what arose for me. First, grief. For my friend who had just passed, for my father, and for my mother, who with daily sharpening dementia and failing kidneys is in a Bardo of her own. I will admit to the grief of being away from Beacon. After all, you have been central to my life for the last 21 years. There is also the foreshadowing of future grief as I return to less than full-time work and will eventually retire. The second thing that arose, and not in a linear way, it's not like I was done with grief check and that could focus on everything else that arose. When you have the time, the jumble of emotions made manifest in somatic pain or energy can be untangled and focused on. So the second thing that arose, interlaced with grief, was gratitude for you all for making this possible, for a life that was never meant to be. My parents were told to expect a stillborn. For close friends and family who live far away, but whom I was able to visit thanks to this planned Bardo, and gratitude for our staff at Beacon, gratitude for Robin, who has carried the flame of leadership by herself for 6 long months. Gratitude for every breath that wasn't stolen from my friend. The gift of time allowed me to get an executive certificate in religious fundraising, an 8-week-long course ending with a capstone project. Meeting twice a week with readings in between, I came away with many exciting ideas and new ways of understanding. But I spent much of the course time translating the God and Christ-based language into a UU lexicon. Hard to do, my friends. And the work of theological translation is its own Bardo. The gift of time made it possible for me to go to my third 10-day silent meditation retreat. For 10 full days, blessed silence, no phones, no internet, only an analog clock, 2 meals a day, no food past noon, a rigorous meditation routine, and at the end, an invitation to donate as you felt moved. As in previous times, these prove again and again to be the most profound experiences of my adult life, each one allowing something else to arise for me to pay attention to. This time, my learning had to do with death and how impactful the reading from Bio is for me. Again, as Bio says, decay is the chorus of 1,000 life forms expressing themselves, the microbial dance of an infinitesimal commonwealth. We often think of death as the ultimate corruption. What if that means that death is the greatest exemplification of life? The next thing to arise for me was an acute awareness of my privilege. The privilege of every breath, which was stolen from my friend, the privilege of wealth, education, meaningful employment, the privilege of housing, the privilege of having time with the sabbatical, of being relatively light-skinned compared to other South Asians, the privilege of being cisgendered, the privilege of access. Access to friends and family, access to food and healthcare, access to the signs of vitality that press on our windows and which we so often tend to deny. Most of us are aware of our privilege, but often in an academic way. We know it in our heads, but how will it and does it shape our behavior? So the question becomes, what does one do in the Bardo with all this that we bring with us? The grief, the gratitude, the time, the privilege, the access. Will I let it drag me down and keep me languishing in the Bardo, trapped in limbo, craving the continuation of this extended time? If that were the choice, then it ceases being a Bardo. Bardos end. They are not permanent states. Bardos end as we move into another period. What memories of this time will shape my future? Have my biological cells been renewed? And how will renewal be experienced by you and me? The answers became clear as my sabbatical progressed. I could have left my Bardo unchanged, carrying these insights as interesting observations. Instead, 3 commitments emerged that now shape how I lead. First, I will move slower, focusing more on quality and depth of relationship. My job, my calling, my service was immense in scope, and I know I gave up much in the interests of efficiency, expediency, and immediacy. Going forward, I will prioritize depth of relationship over checking boxes. Second, I will not live in a place of fear, letting the what-ifs, the can you imagine, shape my day-to-day life. Fear is a habit we can interrupt. Bravery and audacity can be invited in. My sabbatical Bardo taught me presence is the antidote to catastrophizing. And finally, rest and live life forward in abundance rather than scarcity. I'm acutely aware that this final piece is layered with privilege. Would I be able to say this if I were housing or food insecure? I'm not so sure. And I don't want or need another sabbatical to explore it further. Reflecting on it is for daily awareness practices. Even with privilege, scarcity mindset is a choice. Going forward, I can lead from a we have what we need orientation. All 3 of these, slowing down, non-fear, or call it bravery or audacity, and abundance, are essential tools to practice resistance and not self-indulgent things to say for the sake of saying them. Resistance to the pressures of the Bardo we live in, with social media and the constant urgency to respond, the pressure, even the fundamental call to stay politically engaged every moment, the immense pressure to right wrongs now, to feed the hungry, house the houseless, to get your kid into the right college, to earn more, to save, to protect the defenseless. But similar to put your own oxygen mask on first to do even a little bit, we must tend to ourselves. And it is not laziness or lack of engagement, but a purposeful shift in orientation which takes work. And so I return to you changed. My days begin and end with meditation and gratitude practices, not as retreat from this work, but as a foundation that makes sustained resistance possible. I will move slower in our conversation, prioritizing depth over efficiency, building with you all the infinitesimal commonwealth. I will lead from abundance, trusting that we have what we need rather than operating from crisis. But as always, when I step into this pulpit, I'm more interested in you, your journey, and exploring with you what you have discovered, your insights and ahas. So the first question, this is for Social Hour. What would you do if you were blessed with the gift of 6 months? How would you step away, stop, and stay stopped? What would your Bardo feel and look like? Another question to ponder. What if we were to see our individual pain as a sign of vitality and life? As a lifelong migraine sufferer, I can tell you that adapting this orientation has brought much relief and released me from the cycle of aversion. As you use with no promise of heaven or being with a religious leader after death, can we shift our outlook on death and see it as an experience and exemplification of life? My friend who passed in June expressed and exemplified life in so many ways. Second, with no sabbaticals approaching for most of us, anyone have one coming up that I don't know? With no sabbatical approaching for most of us, can we make bardos of the day-to-day? The liminal space between one breath and the next, the pause as the coffee brews, the few seconds it takes the privilege of running water to turn from cold to hot. In these spaces, we have the opportunity to practice not just moment-to-moment awareness, but also to stay alive to whatever might be arising, the blank page beckoning. My friends, we're all in the Bardo right now. Threshold times, liminal spaces, uncertainty, chaos, a dystopian world. Yes? The question isn't whether we will face Bardos. The question is, will we let them transform us? Will we practice slowing down, releasing fear, inviting in bravery, and living from abundance? May each one of us awaken to the Bardos in our lives. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Thank you, Dr. Tuli, for that powerful message about living in the Bardo. I invite you to stand and rise as you are able as we do our closing hymn. Hymn 298, Wake Now My Senses. And hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now, my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quest for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime.
Let's join hands. We come together and link hands because we must. We come together and link hands because we hope. We live in anticipation. We live in a between, a becoming. May this understanding hold us until we come together again. Amen.